there is a Great Commission promise and there is a Great Commandment promise. And some of the research that I'm doing theologically is this. When you look at the Great Commission, there's a promise that follows the Great Commission. Now, this commission, by its definition, is a duty, it's a task, it's an assignment. God gave us the assignment to go, and we have no choice in the matter. We must obey this commission. Do you agree with that? We have to do that. And it's God's assignment that He gave us. That work that He called us to do is to go into all the world, teach and baptize and make disciples. We must be about that. But there's a promise. There's a God promise that follows this Great Commission. Do you know what that promise is? He says, if you will go, His promise is, it's the if-then principle. If you go, then I will follow with, this is what He says, I will be with you always. And it's a great promise of comfort. He will always be with us. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us. He's always there. It's a great promise of comfort. But now wait a minute. You go back to the Great Commandment, and you go back to the D6 passage, and you look at those verses 1 through 9, and this is what He says. He says, if you will observe this command, if you will obey this command. He follows with the then principle, if-then principle. He follows and says, if you will observe this command, 3 promises of God. There are 3 of them. I read them. They're right there. He said, your days will be prolonged. Isn't that exciting? Your days will be prolonged. You will live a long and prosperous life, is what He's saying. Oh, it doesn't, hey, by the way, I know people really want to extend their lives, and they spend a lot of money extending their lives, both medically as well as cosmetically. But God says, if you'll obey this command, I'll prolong your life. There's a second promise. The second promise, He says, I will give you the land that you're crossing over to possess. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. Oh, it may not necessarily mean real estate. But what He is saying is, I am all-sufficient God, and I will meet your every single need. Isn't that good? I think it's good. Here's a third one. His third promise in that passage says this, you will multiply greatly. I know that overwhelms you. I can sense it in your spirit right now. You will multiply greatly. And I drilled down on that word multiply. You know what it means? To increase greatly. Oh, we're not talking about prosperity gospel here. We're not talking about that. We're not necessarily talking about your bank account or your retirement account. He's saying, and I don't know exactly what He means by this, He just says you will increase greatly. You will multiply greatly. Now, I'm confused by these 2 commands, these 2 mandates, because I'm wondering why in the world, because of our investment in the missional enterprise, I'm wondering why through the Great Commission He would not have said, go ye into all the world, teach and baptize and make disciples, and you will multiply greatly. Why would He not have said that? He didn't say it. He says, I'll be with you always. He said, if you love Me and if you will observe this command, you will multiply greatly. I had a pastor say one time, now Terry, that's back in the Old Testament. It doesn't necessarily apply to us today. Okay, then let's go to the New Testament. How about seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be, it's another benefit. It's another dividend, right? Or how about this? The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man avails. It's another benefit. It's another dividend. Or how about this one? God is a rewarder of those who diligently go on mission trips. Is that what He said? God is a rewarder of those who diligently show up on Tuesday night visitation. God is a rewarder of those who diligently are soul winners. He didn't say that. He said God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. And those who seek Him and know Him, it allows us then to make Him known to others. If we're going to turn the 81% of unchurched people in America, we need to do it on God's economy. God's plan. And His plan is to prosper us. His plan is to make dividends and benefits. And He says, you will increase greatly. But you must observe this command. And here's what He said. Yes, go do the work. But you must be obedient to Me first, and I will give the increase. God says, I want the increase. I will give the increase, and I will receive the glory for all that is done. That's what he's saying. And now here's the wrap.